Okay, welcome to my kitchen this time. We're going to go through a few things on grammatical errors because grammatical errors are becoming more common with social media. Not only punctuation, but plain old grammar is taking a shite kicking. So just a few reminders for today. Where do you put the goddamn apostrophe? It's not clear a lot of the time. So I'm going to give you some reminders. It's and its, whose and whose. There's a difference between the contractions and the possessive. So it is a lovely day, is it, if you can use it is, then you use its, it apostrophe s. If you say, the dog protected its puppies. Well, that's possessive. Its, its, no comma. Same with whose. Who is, who apostrophe s. Whose book is this? whose, because it's possessive. Okay, so the contractions are short for it is or it has. And if you can substitute that phrase instead of the its or whose, who is, then you are okay. You will know when to put the apostrophe in. Okay, so you do not use an apostrophe at the end of a possessive pronoun, such as his, hers, its, my, mine, our, ours, their, their, or theirs, theirs. Do not use an apostrophe at the end of any of those. And how about the end of words to show possession? That's where we kind of struggle too. A singular nouns that end with s, add an apostrophe or an apostrophe es to the end. The bus's tire is round. bus apostrophe s. The bus's tire is round. One bus, one tire. Plural nouns that end with s or es, add an apostrophe at the end. The girl's hairdos, there's more than one girl and there's more than one hairdo. So it is s apostrophe because there's more than one. So it's plural. My friend's books, there's more than one friend and more than one book. So s apostrophe. Words that do not end with s, add apostrophe s. I'm going to use the same ones. Girl's hairdo. If there's one girl and one hairdo, it's girl apostrophe s because there's only one girl and one hairdo. Same with my friend's book. One friend, one book, apostrophe s. So more punctuation, commas, semicolons, colons. Which one? Oh, which one? Just know the following. Commas are used to separate words, phrases, and clauses for easier understanding and reading. They're used to separate a list of 3 or more things. Rings, watches, crowns, and pendants, for example. And they're used to separate adjectives. Oh, and by the way, when we go back to that one, the last, what did I use? Pendant, crowns was the second last thing I used. You do put an apostrophe after that before you put and pendants. Okay, so they're used to separate adjectives that describe the same noun. He was a huge, frightening man. And they're used between independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. The common coordinating conjunctions are but, so, nor, for, yet, and or. Okay, so if you're making a sentence and the library is moving, comma, but not until the remodeling is complete. So I could put that all in one sentence. That they're moving, but not. So I used a coordinating conjunction. And then when you switch your two clauses around in a sentence, you will need a comma. I saw a monkey at the zoo that looked like my friend. No comma. Slap, but no comma. Then if you change it around and say, at the zoo, comma, I saw a monkey that looked like my friend. You've switched the two phrases around, and for clarity, you want to put a comma in there. When you're providing information in the middle of a sentence, use comma. My friend Devin, who is shooting this video, makes fun of me. So I want to say, my friend Devin, comma, who is shooting this video, makes fun of me, because I'm throwing in a description of him, just adding more info. But there's no comma if I say, my friend Devin is making fun of me as he shoots this video, because everything runs smoothly then. If you mention a person within a quote, put a comma before their name. And if I send a quote to Devin saying, I can beat you up, comma, Devin, then it makes clear who I can beat up. And I can't really, because he shoots the videos and does a great job, so there's no beating up. You use commas before a quote if it's anything other than the end of a sentence. She went on to say, comma, that's my money. And I used that apostrophe S because I can say that is my money, not just that's my money. Do not use a comma to separate a verb from its subject. Many people, no comma, argue over wearing masks during COVID because it's many people, what do? What's the verb? They argue over wearing masks during COVID. Do not use a comma between two independent clauses. The sky is falling, comma, people are spreading fear. That's two independent clauses. And you don't want a comma in there. You probably want a period, or you can reword it and put a semicolon in there. We'll get to that in a minute. Do not use commas in the middle of a sentence when the information is essential to specifying more about the noun. Police are stopping drivers who may be drinking to give them a sobriety test. You do not need a comma in there, because the police are stopping who? Drivers who may be drinking. Why? To give them a sobriety test. It all goes smoothly. And now the semicolon, which is a comma with a dot above it. It's used sparingly, and it can be used instead of a period. Yay! Because if you're not sure, you have a choice. When in doubt, make a new sentence with a noun and verb, and isn't it nice to have that choice? But if you only use a semicolon, it's used to connect two independent clauses that are closely related in meaning. Devin is not paying attention. Semicolon. He's suddenly looking elsewhere. Now they're independent, but they're kind of related. And he's not looking at elsewhere right now. He's looking at me going, what the hell? Sorry, Devin. But the common conjunctive adverbs are however, also, consequently, finally, furthermore, and otherwise. So if we say, if we change that to Devin is tired of listening to me, semicolon, however, comma, he seems to be enjoying hearing his name. And so, yes, if you're using, you have to use a comma after it. However, also, consequently, finally, furthermore, and otherwise. And the last two things we're going to go through today, and this is only part one. We're going to do part two next week, which is other grammatical errors. But this is just punctuation today. So the colon, 2 dots. And you only use it 2 times. When you're making a list with more than 2 items to follow, use a colon. And whether it's what you've got in your fridge, I've got broccoli, cauliflower, peas, apples, oranges, and, comma, and watermelon. I don't really. I have nothing in my fridge. But if I did have, I would use a colon before I started that list. And use a colon to introduce a quotation. Not when somebody is saying something in your story, not those quotes, but a quotation that comes after an independent clause. For instance, hopefully, Margaret Thibault's speech will be remembered as motivation, colon. Ask not what your library can do for you, but rather what you can do for your library. So, get reading, get writing, and check with your library where they're at with the renovations, and pretty soon we'll be back at the library. So, get writing. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.